In this video, I will show you how to put together this ornament box for a 5-inch disc ornament. So here I'm going to show you how to put together the ornament box for the 5-inch, around 5-inch. Mine's a little bit smaller than 5-inch. I think it's 120 millimeters. So is it 5-inch or 120? And it could fit a little bit larger depending on the manufacturer of the ornament. So I have these panels. So these are the lid panels. These are the box panels. And we have all the pieces of the boxes. So I'll go over it one by one. So we have two versions of the file. These pieces that I'm going to start with are for, generally there's two sets of box pieces in the file. If you're going to use 12 by 12 paper, use the 12 by 12 version. You can do a mix and match, but you usually want to do the same. This would be the 12 by 12. You would need 12 by 12 paper for that. There's a different set. I have it in a weird place right now, so you're going to hear something strange. Okay, so here's these pieces for 8.5 by 11. So I know a lot of people have 8.5 by 11, especially those that do decorate ornaments. So I just wanted to make that in there. Yes, there's a lot of paper, but some people had asked for a 5-inch ornament box. These are the inserts for the disc ornament box and the lid. So what we're going to do first is put on the panels. So for the lid, so these two we don't need quite yet. You can go ahead and fold them. This will be on the bottom to hold the ornament in place. This will be in the top to kind of go around the neck to hold it in place in the box. And those are the same no matter what. The only thing different between the letter size, because these are letter size compatible to cut, are the actual box panels right here. So let's go ahead and put on some of the panels. Now I'm not going to show you everything. I'm just going to show you a couple of them. So I had embossed, this is a foil cardstock from Recollections that I used. And I embossed it with an embossing folder. So I'm not sure if you don't know what an embossing folder is. It's just something you can run through a machine to make it have dimension. So I don't have this exact one. This is like a swirls. But it goes through this first. You cut it and then you run it through this and you can get kind of a good impression. So you can also, as another option, if you decide to, you could always match up this paper with that paper. So even though there's different colors in the files, you can do that. Oh, and the other thing is you can make these inserts a different color if you like. I mean, they're not really going to be seen. Like a lot of people just use white. And if you don't have a lot of the same colored cardstock, it's just so you eliminate that you have to have so many pieces. So with that said, let's go ahead and start. And I'm only going to put on a couple. So basically, you see it's kind of rounded here. All we want to do, and I'm using Barely Art glue, and this is, I believe this is a Craft 80-pound cardstock, textured. So normally I use American Crafts, but I believe this is a different kind. It'll be noted in the description. So I'm just going to go ahead and center these. So these are the same size, so we're just going to center them. We'll put this one on, and then the middle is centered as well. So these are optional. You don't have to put these panels on. It's not going to affect the structural integrity of the box. It just makes it prettier. And then I'll put the other two off camera on. But here's the center one. And it just gives it a little bit more decoration. But you can use it without or with or without. So we'll put the rest on. I didn't put it really close to the edges here, so there's a little bit of a gap to give it a little contrast. So I'll put the rest of these on there. And then with the boxes, so we have these two pieces. So we'll want to, it's pretty simple. These are the same size for the sides, and you want to use the one with the opening. So we'll do the one with the opening. And try not to have your paper overlapping like that. move this up. Hope I didn't cut that off. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to put a little glue on the edge. So this is a pretty simple box to put together, but I just like to go slow for those that might need it. And you want to center this. So you want to make sure there's equidistance on the edges and in the middle. So basically what I do is eye the middle so I can basically get the same thickness of border right there. And it helps me place it. And the same thing with this, we're just going to center this, and then the back's similar, and the rest is just centering the panels. Just give it. So my comment to you on this before I move forward is that a lot of people ask me, can I use 65 pound cardstock to make the boxes? You can, but if you do, I would highly recommend you put the panels on to strengthen it. Otherwise, if you do not, it might be a little more flimsy. Even this without the panels more flimsy. But typically the ornaments are pretty lightweight, so it's not an issue generally. So if you had something in the ornament that was really heavy, that would be an issue. And we have a little no glue bottom. So you might want to make sure that you have these all folded before we assemble. So I'm going to go ahead and put the panels on the lid and the rest of the panels on the boxes, and then we'll go ahead and put it together. Here's the paper I was using for this particular project. I typically use American Crafts cardstock, but this is nice. It works. I think actually coordination's very similar in the way it cuts, but it cuts cleanly, and I wanted the craft paper look because I like the way that it looks kind of like a standard box. And then I just add color with the panels. So now that we have all the panels on, let's go ahead and put them together. So we have this, and basically it's just going to be glued by the tabs. So we're going to go ahead and just add glue to the side tab and make sure you pre-fold all the boxes on the score line. So if you have like a Cricut or something, you may have to do it a little bit finer with something like a bone folder, something like that. But you want to make sure all those are really crisp before you put it together. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up, and I'm going to line this edge up right up to the score line. So you don't want to go over it. You can line it up at the top. It will be the easiest. I mean, you can line it at the bottom too, but top's just easier to see. And then once you get that glued, just make sure you get a good coverage on it. Just fold that over. And this is a good way to do it right there. Fold it over. And then just place glue here. And I keep a little pin in the edge of this so it doesn't dry out on me. One thing when you have these big of tabs, I like to get glue coverage like right up to the edge of it so it doesn't pull apart up at the top or the bottom. Especially important when you're doing the no glue boxes like these are. So just fold it down and it'll fold down in place. So you can do a lot of these just like that and get them ready, but because it's a no glue closure on the bottom. So the way you close it is this. So I'm going to do it really slowly. You fold that in. So this with the little teeth, fold that in first. And then the side ones like that. And then let me do it from the side here. Kind of have to like bend it in like that. See that? So inside it's like that. But you can see what it looks like inside. So typically what I do is kind of push it down. It creates a solid bottom piece. And then really all we have to do is place this in here. So these are folded down. So I'm going to show you they're folded down on the sides. Because with the camera view, it's hard to see. We're going to put it in like this. I'm just going to slide it down. You see, like that. And then we'll put the ornament in. So here's the ornament. And one thing I want to tell you is that these things, if you have the ones like this, these flip out. So you want to make sure to kind of squish in these little metallic tops. So I'm going to try to show you from an angle here. I'm just going to go like this. You see how it sits in there? And then you can see the top like that. So this piece, you could go like this, but I like to put it in like this. It is smaller. Oops, don't do that. I'm going to start on one side and then I'm going to grab it. Really is not as hard. It's just hard to do it with the camera. So you can see, holds it in place. So I can kind of jiggle it a little bit. So we did that part. Let's go ahead and I'll show you briefly in this next clip. You can forward through it, but I'm going to show you, I'm not going to talk through it, but how to glue together the pieces if you're using the letter size. So quickly with these, you have different numbers cut out. So there's a 1, a 2, so there's 2 little cuts. 3, I'm sorry, there's 3, and then 4. So I put pen, it's a little cut mark. You can barely see, but I used a pen because you're not going to see it when you glue together. So now we're just going to glue them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. So to glue together the lid, just simply you want to fold those in, and then we're going to glue these on the inside, just like that. So you want to make sure it's good and folded, ready to fold. So make sure it's folded on the score lines well. If you cut out the dashed version, perforated lines, it folds really smoothly. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that in. I'm going to just fold that under like that and line it up. So I'm lining up that edge to the tab fold, then applying pressure. So you don't want to make sure you do it long enough for it to hold. So I have these clothespins just in case, just to show you another little trick. So I'm holding the other one as I add glue to this one. Being careful not to get glue on the metallic paper, my fingertips. Just like that. Flip it over and apply pressure on the inside. And if you still want to kind of like get it to hold a little bit, I like to go in like that to hold it at the edges. So you can do that. So that's a nice handy little trick. You see it's just holding it to get a nice good edge while I do the other two. So you can do that if you want to do it a little quicker. The reason I do it, you could do it on the inside too if you wanted to do 2 on each side. If you wanted it to go over the edge here, right there, the whole tab, you could do that too. So it's holding both. But it tends to come apart anywhere is where the edges meet up right here. So you just line that up and get this last one glued. So if you start pulling too early, it's going to start coming apart at the edge. It's a pretty fast box to put together. I have to go slower just for the sake of the video, but you can put it together pretty quickly. I don't know how many people would actually, I'm sure this would be like a specialty box because it takes so much paper. In my book, that's what it is. So you see how it starts pulling apart right there? That's why I put the, you either hold it for a long time or you can use these. So you just don't want it to pull apart at this edge like that. So that finishes it. So that just finishes the box. I'm going to put the pin back in my little Barely Art glue so it doesn't dry up on me. So now we have, let me go ahead and get the box and lid. We have this. When you see that you can pull this up, make sure that insert's above the opening, like that. So it doesn't need to be down because you don't want that insert showing. So you know, right there. And then there's enough friction for you to bring it back up. So I made it tighter so you could bring it back up. Just go ahead and do that real quick. Sorry about that's part of it. There's enough friction up here for you to get it in like that without seeing it from the front. So, but I wanted to highlight as much of the bulb as I could. And there we go. There's the lid. Goes right in. So you can go ahead and you're seeing my lights up there, but make your own personalized ornament for somebody, and it's a nice box to put it in. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for watching.